Hello, everyone. You and that woman who always thought she could control everything with darkness and violence truly panicked when she found out that ye had filed a police report. For the first time, the aggressor had to face reality. The quiet, gentle man she thought she could easily crush had finally stood up. And when someone like ye rises, when the person who used to stay silent and live in fear suddenly looks you straight in the eyes and refuses to back down, everything changes. This time, it's not ye who should be worried. It's her. She may not escape the law after all. Everything she did to ye, to Thuy, and to little Maya is finally coming to light. Or is it? The moment when she will have to pay for everything is getting closer. The story of ye, Thuy, Maya, and Thuy has only just begun to untie its first knots. There are still many secrets to uncover, many unexpected twists, and moments that will take your breath away or break your heart. If you want to follow me through every tense, emotional chapter, don't forget to like this video to give ye more strength in his fight against the darkness. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single part. Each episode will be more intense, more emotional, and deeper than the last. That morning, sunlight slipped gently through the window like a caress, gliding over the thin curtain and falling onto the bed after a rare, peaceful night. He opened his eyes first and saw Maya sleeping deeply, her little face resting on his arm. Thuy lay on the other side, turned on her side, her loose hair spread across the pillow and her face far more relaxed than it had been in the previous days of worry. In that instant, Ye's heart softened. A small house, a gentle woman, a little girl who warmed the morning like a ray of sunshine. Silently he thought, "Thank you, God, for letting me wake up inside this love." Maya stirred. She rubbed her eyes first, then giggled when she saw ye watching her. "Papa, you feel better now? Play with Maya today." Ye smiled and stroked her head. "I'm much better already. What does my little girl want to play?" The child immediately bounced up, her messy hair like a little cloud. "Papa takes Maya to school. I'm going to tell all my friends that today Papa is taking me." Ye pretended to be serious. "Such a great honor. Okay, Papa will take you." Maya's laughter filled the room, chasing away the last traces of worry. In the kitchen, the smell of hot chow, fried eggs, and golden scallions warmed the entire space. Thuy was bent over the stove. She turned when she heard Ye's footsteps. "You're up. Sit down, I'm almost finished." He rested a hand on the table and watched her cook with quiet tenderness. While she kept stirring the eggs, Thuy asked, "Darling, can you take me to the village garden later?" "Yes, I need to buy vegetables for the market," she continued. "And you take Maya to school." He stood straight and saluted like a soldier. "Yes, ma'am, my boss." Thuy glanced at him sideways, but her lips curved into a soft smile, a smile that made the morning shine a little brighter. "Are you going to the workshop today?" she asked softly, though her voice was full of concern. Ye hesitated for a second. He couldn't lie to her, but he didn't want her to worry either. Inside, last night's decision remained firm. Today he had to go to the police. He had to file the report. He had to demand an investigation against the person who attacked him. He could not let it happen again. He could not let the darkness touch Thuy and Maya one more time. He simply answered, "Yes, I'll go." Thuy nodded, tilted her head a little, and continued cooking, unaware that those few words hid an entire plan Ye was keeping to himself. A little later, the three of them sat around the small table. Maya talked non-stop about school. She spun around the room like a whirlwind. Thuy looked at Ye with shining eyes, relieved to see him better. But inside Ye there were two different heartbeats, one for peace, one for responsibility. He ate the chow Thuy served him, watched Maya's smile and Thuyn's calm face. Yet beneath it all, something was growing. It was time to do what had to be done. He had to protect them, not just with words or determination, but with real actions. And the first action was to go to the police and demand justice for himself and safety for his family. That morning was so peaceful it seemed impossible anything could break it. But inside Yi, a decision had already been made, a decision that would take him straight to the police station after dropping Maya at school. A decision capable of changing everything. The morning was so gentle it felt like a warm blanket wrapped around the heart. The sun fell lightly, and the wind passed between the bamboo stalks, making a sound like a sigh. He drove his old car along the familiar village road. Huynh sat in the back seat hugging Maya, and the little girl wouldn't stop talking. When Papa takes me to school, Maya is the happiest. Will you take me tomorrow too, Papa? He just smiled and let her chatter on. In the rear-view mirror he saw Huynh looking at him. It was the first calm gaze she had given him after so many difficult days. That look made him grip the steering wheel a little tighter. It reminded him that he had to protect this family at any cost. When they reached the school gate, Maya threw her arms around Ye's neck. Papa, tonight you'll help me with homework again, right? Yes, I promise, he answered, caressing her tenderly. Maya ran toward her classroom, waving until she disappeared. Yi looked at Huynh. Their eyes met, soft and deep. Remember to buy the vegetables and come home early, he said. You too. Rest a bit before going to the workshop, she replied, gently tucking a strand of hair behind his ear. That small gesture is something only someone who truly loves you would do. He held her hand for just a second, but it was enough to warm Huynh's heart. He waited until she walked away toward the market, then turned the wheel in another direction. Not toward home, not toward the workshop, but toward the police station. The place where calm ends and truth begins. He parked in front of the entrance and looked at the red sign with golden letters. His palms were damp, not from fear, but because he knew that behind that door lay a difficult path. A path that might enrage the person who had threatened him, but the only path that could protect Huynh and Maya. He took a deep breath. For them, I have to do this. He stepped inside. The air smelled of paper, old wood, and coffee. Several officers worked seriously but not coldly. One looked up. How can I help you? Yi swallowed. For the first time his voice trembled. I want to report an assault and death threats against me. The atmosphere softened. The officer stood and invited him into the interview room. The door closed. Sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating Ye's bruised but now resolute face. Tell us everything, the officer said. Yi took a deep breath. Memories crashed over him like a dark wave. The sudden braking, the blows, being dragged out of the car, the cold eyes watching from the shadows. But this time he did not run. The other night, 3 men blocked my way and beat me. They didn't steal anything. They just wanted to send a message. He pulled out his phone. His fingers shook slightly as he placed the threatening messages on the table. This was just a warning. Next time it won't be only your face. You stay quiet. The officer frowned as he read them. Do you suspect someone? He was silent for 3 seconds, then raised his eyes. Steady. Yes. But I will only name the person to the lead investigator. His voice no longer shook. There was a new calm, the calm of someone who had decided not to back down. The officer nodded. We will protect you and your family. Those words made Yi close his eyes for a moment. A single hot tear fell onto the table. Small, but filled with relief and determination. Thank you. I just want them to be safe. When he stepped out of the station, the wind felt stronger and the sun shone brighter. He stood on the steps and looked at the road ahead. There was no fear in his eyes anymore, only resolve. The resolve of a man who had chosen to protect his family at any cost, even if he had to face a darkness greater than himself. The morning passed peacefully after Yi left the station. But when he stepped into the yard at home, a strange feeling made him pause. It wasn't fear, it was relief. For the first time in many days, he felt he was no longer cornered. He didn't go inside right away. He stayed on the porch, under the old wooden chair where the soft pink curtain of bougainvillea fell. The afternoon breeze gently moved his shirt. Bibi lay at his feet, resting his head on Ye's shoe as if he, too, understood something in him had changed. Yi looked at the road in front of the house. The sky was clear and calm. Children's laughter drifted from the end of the lane. It was a moment of peace, but he knew that peace only existed because he had finally decided to be strong. He took out his phone. On the screen he saw his own reflection, still bruised, but with clear, deep, determined eyes. His fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the anger he had kept inside for too long. He dialed a number. 1 ring, 2, 3. Hello. Thuy's voice, cold, sharp, but with a trace of nervousness she couldn't hide. He leaned back in the chair, lowered his gaze, and spoke with a calm that cut like a blade. Did you really think a few cowardly blows would scare me? Thuy was silent for a second, then forced a short laugh. What are you talking about? He cut her off. His voice dropped, so serious that even the wind seemed to stop. Don't pretend you don't know. On the other end, Thuy held her breath. A few seconds of silence, then her voice came out tense and high. What do you think you're going to do to me? He let out a brief, joyless laugh, full of contempt for those who believe they can control everything from the shadows. I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago. Thuy shifted. There was a noise as if she had stood up abruptly. What do you mean? He looked at the strangely clean blue sky and said slowly, driving each word home. I already filed the report with the police. Absolute silence on the line. 1 second, 2, 3. Then Thuy's voice exploded with panic she tried to hide. Are you insane? How dare you? How dare I? He raised his voice for the first time. Bibi lifted his head, startled, but he gently stroked him without looking away. He continued, voice low and icy, because of my almost disfigured face, because of the death threats you sent, for following me, for watching Huynh and Maya. Thuy's breathing broke, like someone suddenly dropped into deep water. You have no proof. He narrowed his eyes. The police will find it. For several seconds only the wind and Thuy's racing heartbeat could be heard through the phone. What do you want? She finally asked, her voice small and trembling. He looked into the distance. His tone was no longer angry. It was the weariness of someone who doesn't want war but can no longer avoid fighting. I want you to stop before you destroy your own life. Thuy said nothing. Those words struck the most fragile part of her ego. They can hurt me, he continued, voice low and firm. I'm used to it. But Huynh and Maya don't deserve to suffer. Thuy spoke almost in a whisper. You love them that much? He closed his eyes. Maya hugging him, Huynh cooking for him, the laughter inside the little house, everything flashed through his mind like a slow movie. Yes, he said without hesitation. That much. Thuy breathed hard through her nose. Rage, pain, jealousy, maybe all of it. He opened his eyes. His voice turned cold as steel again. If you want to hurt me, I'm not afraid. But if you ever touch either of them again. A heavy silence fell between them. He finished. I will make sure the law locks the door on your life forever. Thuy choked on her own breath. She couldn't say another word. He moved the phone away and hung up. Beep. The sound vanished into the wind, but inside Yi it felt as if a new door had opened. A very dark door, yet the only one he could walk through. He looked at the road, took a deep breath. Bibi lifted his head and wagged his tail gently. Yi stroked him and murmured, This peace has to be earned, Bibi. Then he turned his gaze toward the path where Huynh and Maya were still walking through their day, a silent promise. I will protect you, no matter the cost. The little house was wrapped in the quiet calm of noon. Light passed through the thin curtain, leaving golden stripes on the floor like honey. The breeze came from the back garden carrying the smell of earth, fresh vegetables, and that warm scent of sunshine that makes you breathe deeply without realizing it. He was in the yard holding a bamboo broom, sweeping slowly with steady movements. The wound on his back still ached, but that day he wanted to do something for Huynh. In recent days she had been the one caring for him. The bowls of hot chow, the cold compresses on his battered face, the worried looks that trembled in her hands. Now that he could breathe more easily and the pain was no longer so sharp, he wanted to give something back, even if only in small ways, just so she would worry a little less. That's enough, he thought, and smiled softly. Bibi lay under the mango tree, occasionally biting the broom as if wanting to play. He crouched down and rubbed his head. Easy, boy. Let me work today. The dog wagged his tail and lay back down, as if keeping watch so Yi wouldn't overexert himself. When he finished sweeping, Yi went inside. He looked around. The table where the three of them ate together, the clean bowls, the little cloth Huynh had forgotten to fold last night. Everything simple, yet as beautiful as a complete family scene. He took off his jacket, put on the apron, the same one Maya always laughed at because he tied it crooked, and began preparing lunch. That day he wanted to cook something simple: caramelized fish with pepper, zucchini soup, and boiled greens that Huynh loved. He lifted the pot lid. Hot steam stung his eyes a little. The rice was starting to smell wonderful. The sound of boiling water filled the kitchen, and the aroma of fish with pepper spread everywhere. "I hope it tastes okay," he murmured, tasting a bit. It was a little too salty, not sweet enough. He added a bit more sugar, a splash of fish sauce, and let it simmer on low heat. Sometimes he had to pause and lean against the counter. The pain still stabbed. But he only smiled. "It's okay. Today I'm cooking for you." The kitchen was hot, but his heart was strangely calm. There was no more fear, no more shadows behind him. Only the desire to wait, to see Huynh walk through the door with wind-tousled hair, a basket of vegetables in her hand, and that tired look that had gradually grown lighter as she watched him recover. He glanced at the clock and calculated, about 20 minutes until she would return. He set the table, arranged the chopsticks neatly, wiped the surface, and gently pulled out Huynh's chair, a gesture he had never done before, but wanted to do for her now. Bibi came over, put his front paws on Ye's leg, and sniffed the food, then looked up as if asking, "Are you cooking for Mama today?" Yi laughed and rubbed his head. "Yes, I'm waiting for her." The wind blew strong, making the porch curtain dance. Golden light fell over the freshly made dishes, so beautiful it seemed to illuminate the soul. He sat on the porch chair, leaned against the pillar, and looked down the narrow path that led to the village. In his chest there was a very clear feeling. He was waiting for the person he loved, not out of worry, but out of peace. He rested his hand on the table and smiled to himself. "Huynh, today let me take care of you." And for the first time in many days, he felt truly strong again. The lane was almost empty at noon. Only the sound of wind rustling bamboo leaves could be heard. Huynh walked quickly, her basket swinging in her hand. The whole way home she could only think of Yi. "I wonder if he's back from the workshop already. I want to cook him something nice, like the days when he was still in pain and I did everything to make him feel better." But just as she turned into their street, Huynh stopped. A smell floated in the air, the smell of caramelized fish with pepper, gentle zucchini soup, freshly cooked rice, warm as the midday itself. She stood still for a few seconds. That was the smell of their kitchen. Her heart gave a soft thud. She hurried, almost running, filled with the kind of excitement that only comes when something wonderful takes you by surprise. Could it be him? When she reached the yard, the first thing she saw was Ye's back by the stove, the apron hastily tied, the ladle stirring the pot, and the aroma of food spreading like the warmest welcome of the day. Huynh's eyes widened in surprise. She lifted her basket. "You're back early. I thought you weren't home yet. I bought things to cook for you." Yi turned around. His smile shone under the sideways sunlight, a real, calm, gentle smile full of love. "Yeah, I went to the workshop," he said, scratching his head. "But the boss gave me another day off to recover." He said it casually, though inside he was hiding all the tension of the morning at the police station. Huynh set the basket on the table and looked at him for a long time. There was no suspicion in her eyes, only warmth. "So, you came back to cook?" she asked softly, almost afraid to break the moment. Yi smiled, a little embarrassed. "Yes, I did my best. Don't laugh." Huynh stepped closer to look at the simmering fish. Her eyes misted slightly without her knowing exactly why. Maybe because for so many days she had been the only one caring for him. Maybe because today he wanted to do something for her. Maybe because sometimes, when someone takes care of you, a woman's heart becomes so soft it trembles. "Laugh at what?" She smiled, her voice a little husky. "If you made it, I already love it." He watched her, her gentle smile, her sun-reddened hands, her tired but strangely bright eyes when she looked at him. The wind moved the porch curtain. Bibi came running out, barking happily as if he understood something warm was growing inside the house. Thuy placed her hand on the soup lid and looked at him. "Next time, save your strength. Otherwise I won't dare leave you alone in the kitchen." "I'm fine," he answered with a smile. "I just wanted to cook you a meal." That simple sentence squeezed her heart, not with pain, but with the soft happiness that is almost impossible to explain. Together they carried out the plates and set the table on the porch. The midday light fell over the dishes, turning them golden. Thuy sat down, looked at the food, then looked at him. "Thank you for today,"